Hi, buddy. I haven't seen Anders in a while. Anders is Anders Barton. So Anders is, wait, Anders, do you want to come on camera? You let me know. You let me know if you do. Anders is Joe Barton's son, who also works for our team. Oh, he said, sure. That's just special. Okay. I'm going to have him hop on as well. So, welcome to the webinar, everyone. This is the Healthy Heart webinar. In case you're wondering, I'm going to try to let our friend Anders on. Anders lives close to me, and I just don't see him very often. So we have to bring him on the webinar so I can see what he looks like, see if he's changed.
So I just finished an article for Home Cures That Work on the ketogenic diet. So what did you think, Cheryl?
I loved it. Well, we talked about it last week, and you mentioned it's not for everyone. And so you go into a little bit why it may not be for everyone, but then you list what some foods that are good. You mentioned the reasons why you could be on the keto diet, maybe for how long you should be on the keto diet. So that's coming out October 1st. We'll have to talk more about it, like dedicate a webinar to it if it's good for heart health.
Yeah.
There's man, Anders.
Howdy. I am working from downtown Sioux Falls today, so I'm not in my usual environment, but happy to be here. Hi.
Is that a nice coffee shop you're in?
It is not a coffee shop. It's actually it's a young adults ministry. So I'm 26, so I'm considered a young adult, young professional, and they just open their doors to young professionals and adults that want to hang out, work, there's college students that come in here and work. There's people like me with jobs that work remotely that come in here and work. And so, yeah, it's been good. It's better than being isolated in my apartment. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Totally.
But happy birthday, Dr. Saunders.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Very exciting. I love the background, Leslie.
That is so cute.
That's fun.
All right. Well, we are excited that you guys are all here. It'll be, who knows? There could be others that join as well, because when it's Dr. Saunders' birthday, we have to do all the fun things. So, but today on the Healthy Heart webinar, we're going to be talking about the benefits of high fiber. And so if you've been hanging around here for a while, you know that that's a big piece of the Healthy Heart program that we talk about. And so we want to take your questions. As those come up, feel free to post those in the Q&A. And we'll have Dr. Saunders share a little bit about that. But I do want to remind you that Dr. Saunders, while he is a wonderful medical doctor, he is not your doctor. And so the things that we talk about today, we just ask that you would chat with your provider before you implement anything that may affect your health. Okay, so let me see here. So again, say hello in the chat so we know that you are here. If it's your first time here, welcome. We are so thrilled that you are here. Also, let us know if you have the Healthy Heart Solution Kit. And not to make it even more confusing, but if you have questions as we go, post those in the Q&A. If you're on Zoom, if you're on YouTube, post those in the comments. That's just an easier way for us to manage those that come in. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and get started, and I'm just going to focus on this little happy birthday sign for Dr. Saunders. Wait, sorry, that way. And obviously I was not a news or a weather lady. Dr. Saunders, the Healthy Heart Solution Kit is one of our more recent solution kits that we have put together. And when we were working on this, I know that fiber was a really, really important piece that you wanted included in the diet recommendations for people. Why was that?
Oh, yeah. It became kind of heated sometimes, the arguments over, okay, what are we going to include? What are we not going to include? There's just so much out there and so much stuff. And what is it that fiber really helps? And why is it so important for the heart function? And there's a lot of answers to that. But first of all, it helps the gut to function well. It helps your intestines to function well. And digestion and absorption of food is really important. When you have a lot of fiber, it prevents excessive amounts of what are called secondary bile acids. And that means that the bile acids are getting recycled. They're being absorbed through your intestines, and then they go back to the liver And then the liver reprocesses them and sends them out again through the bile to solubilize the fat, and then they get reabsorbed again. And those secondary bile acids, as they're going through, they get more sticky. So they're the ones that cause like stones and gallstones and stuff like that, and sludge in the gallbladder and all that kind of stuff. The secondary bile acids do that. But the other thing that fiber does is it holds on to those, brings them out, so that your liver has to make primary bile acids for everything. Why is that important to the heart? That's because that's the cholesterol. The LDL cholesterol that's coming into the liver has to be made into something. So either it's going to be made into LDL and go out into your body everywhere, or it's going to be used to processed into bile acids so that it can allow you to absorb fats. And so if you have a lot of secondary bile acids, then you don't need to make any primary bile acids, and that's kind of a problem. So that's really interesting. This cycle of bile acids is one reason for having fiber, and it has to do with the cholesterol of all things, right? And we've told you that cholesterol is not the cause. That's not the cause. But it is an issue with inflammation and clotting, and your ability to make other hormones and inflammatory mediators, for example. So that is an important thing. So then what else does fiber do? Well, when you have a high fiber diet, you produce something in your intestines called short chain fatty acids, SCFA. And these short chain fatty acids are anti-inflammatory, both in your intestines and in your body. And so when you have high levels of these short chain fatty acids, you have less inflammation. You make clots less easily, so the blood is a little thinner, and it also prevents you from getting Alzheimer's disease. So having these high levels of these short chain fatty acids are really good for you. And they are made out of fiber by the bacteria in your intestines. So growing those bacteria that make the short chain fatty acids requires the right kind of fiber and enough of that fiber for that to happen. So it helps your intestines. It lowers inflammation. So it helps heart disease. It prevents clots. Remember, that's the key issue, is clots. And it also helps a lot of other things in your body that can be caused by inflammation, like kidney disease and Alzheimer's disease and dementia and all those kind of things. So the dietary fiber, it turns out, is a very important part of heart health. And if we look at the research that's been done on what actually reverses heart disease, what actually turns it around and makes it better, and we're not talking about just stopping it in its tracks, we're talking about reversing it to where you had these clogged arteries that are narrowed to 70%, and now they're only 30%. They've actually improved. So what studies have been done to show improvement? Well, all of them include a very high fiber diet. So if you look at McDougall's program, at the Esselstyn program, to Dean Ornish's program, and Dean Ornish was very careful to document each artery, how much clotting and how much constriction there was in the arteries of each person, and how that improved on the program of eating a very high fiber diet. And that is interesting. If you look at them, they're all like very high fiber, low fat diets. And so then how does the fat figure into that? Well, it might. And that's where we have a little difference of opinion of that, because it seems that if you separate out the fats as separate from the fiber, that it's really getting enough omega-3 that's important. And so when you eat mostly, and when your fat is coming from like broccoli, for example, broccoli has 10 times more omega-3 than omega-6. So yeah, it's got a lot of fiber, but it takes a whole cup of broccoli to get 100 milligrams of omega-3. So you're not going to get a whole lot of fat from that. It's a very little bit of fat, but the ratio is what's important. So I think part of the way that the very high fiber diet works is that the types of things that you're eating are going to have a higher omega-3 to omega-6 ratio, which is going to prevent inflammation again. So yeah, the fats may have something to do with it, having the low fat diet, but also the fiber is a very important part of that. So that's why I wanted fiber to be included in this. And as we did research, and you'll see in the book when you go through it, it'll have references to tell you, where the research was done and how this fit in and this fit in and why the fiber is very important. So I think a very high fiber diet is an important part of a healthy heart program.
I love it. This is such good information. And I want to talk about a couple different things, but I want to dig into some questions as we go, if you're okay with that. So let me see here. Oh, that wasn't about that. Actually, okay, I'm going to start at the top. Or what are some of the best fiber foods? Gladys would like to know.
Oh, that's a great question. Okay. So don't think of like a food like, oh, psyllium seed is great, therefore I'm going to have psyllium seed every day. Or jicama is a great source of fiber. So I'm going to eat that every day. So the idea of fiber is not to have the same fiber every day all the time. It's to have a variety of fiber. And that's where the big benefit of like the Dean Ornish program and the McDougall and Esselstyn program come in, is that you're having a lot of different types of fiber. And there's great benefits to that. So it isn't that you should eat one really good fiber food. It's that you should eat a whole lot of different kinds of fiber. So when you have mushrooms have some types of fiber, fructose sugar. Fructose is the type of sugar and fiber in it that can't be found anywhere else. Like, you need mushrooms. But then if all you had was mushrooms every day, that would not grow a broad spectrum of bacteria in your intestines. So eat mushrooms, eat broccoli, eat spinach. Lettuce has very little fiber in it. It's a lot of water, very little bit of fiber. If you had a whole plate of lettuce, a big bit, not a salad plate, but a big dinner plate full of lettuce, that's about 4 grams of fiber. And just to put it into perspective, you need 40 grams a day. So you're not going to get a lot, but the type of fiber that it has is really good for growing lactobacillus organisms that make those short chain fatty acids. So yeah, eat lettuce. It's people will tell you that's not even worth it. You have so little fiber in there. No, it's worth it because think of that, you're feeding good bacteria. Yeah, it's only a little bit for you. So what? But you're feeding bacteria are very, very tiny. You need a microscope to see them. They don't eat a lot. So even though those small little 4 grams of fiber, it's something, and it's important. Let's see. Jicama, I said, is actually a really good source of fiber. All the root vegetables, if you have sweet potatoes, excellent source of fiber. And white potatoes are an excellent source of fiber too. And whole grains. So making sure that you don't have white rice, that you have brown rice, that you don't have white flour, that you use whole grains. And then fruit of all kinds has different types of fiber in it. And there's something called a Jerusalem artichoke, but artichoke in general just has some a different kind of fiber. So if you put it all together and eat a variety, that's where your great benefit comes in.
I remember when we were putting together the Healthy Heart Solution Kit, all members of the Barton team put in their recipes, but they had to be high fiber recipes. So what about beans?
Oh, beans are a great source of fiber. Yeah, all beans are a great source of fiber. And remember I said you need 40 grams a day. Well, a cup of beans is going to have 10 grams of fiber. That's like a quarter of your whole day's supply in a cup of beans. So yeah, absolutely. Beans are great.
Okay, I don't know who the other Anders Barton is. Oh, it's the other Anders. Hi, Anders Joe Barton. Oh, he's on mute.
JB.
Happy birthday, Dr. Saunders. Woo, woo, woo.
Thanks.
I did have someone ask what year you were born. I'll tell you this. Can we say how old you are?
1963.
Okay.
Yeah, I just turned today. I've finished 61 years. That means I've finished six decades of life.
Woo. All
as
right.
of today. Yeah.
I would have guessed 39 myself.
I know.
Thank you.
He's aging backwards, I feel.
Another fun little fact about Dr. Saunders. Actually, there are a lot of fun facts about Dr. Saunders that we've discovered over the years on these webinars. Very strange things you guys would not even believe. But I'm pretty sure he's lived like 25 different lives. But I also believe today is the first day that he is no longer doing a ketogenic diet.
Oh, that's right.
What are we celebrating with today, Dr. Saunders?
So my wife for breakfast got me baklava.
Oh boy. Did you take a nap afterward?
No, I just ate one. They come in little pieces, and so I ate one little piece. It's really sweet. It was really good. She also bought me some of those plantain platano, the plantain chips from Trader Joe's.
Those are so good.
Because I haven't eaten those in a long time, and they remind me of I used to live in Venezuela, and so I remember I liked the plátano maduro. So Trader Joe's has them.
Love it. So fun. Well, the timing of that was perfect. Did you plan out your keto adventure based around your birthday? Just curious.
No, it was just that it so happened, it was the June 26th, and I said, I'm going to do this for 90 days. And I'm like, oh, that's my birthday.
So fun.
So it worked out great.
All right. Speaking of eating baklava, let's talk about fasting. Okay. So Gloria says it seems both solution books, the heart versus the diabetes, state a difference between fasting and drinking water. Are they different? Thanks. Happy birthday, Dr. Saunders.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. So fasting means empty stomach. And that's what it means. So putting nothing in your stomach, that's literally fasting. However, you can modify the fast in certain ways. So a lot of people have not, their body is not accustomed, their kidneys are not accustomed to concentrating urine. So they have a hard time concentrating urine. So if they stop drinking all of a sudden, just boom, then they're going to get really dehydrated. They're going to feel horrible. They're going to get hypotension. They're going to stand up and get dizzy and fall down and break their teeth out. And they're going to be miserable. So to avoid the misery that we said, you know what, just have some water. Yeah, I know the optimum fast is literally no food, no water. And that's what I'm doing actually starting tomorrow for 3 days. So and the optimum amount of time is 3 days. So 3 days, no food, no water that's the perfect fast to do. So, but you have to work up to that. That's not something you can just like pop in and do. You have to go, okay, I'm going to go 12 hours with no food, no water. Okay, now I'm going to go 16 hours. Now I'm going to go 18 hours. And now I'm going to go a full day, no food, no water. Hey, I did okay with that. I'll go a day and a half. And so you work up over time. And you know what? It's been years of me fasting periodically, doing at least 1 day a month. And I've even done 7 days of water fast, but I didn't do really dry fasting. And when I first did it, I passed out a couple of times. One time I was doing a presentation in front of a group and I passed out. I got right up and everyone's like, oh! And I'm like, no, I'm okay. I told them I was fasting and they're like, you idiot, you shouldn't fast. I'm like, nope, I'm going to continue doing it. And I did, and I do, and now I do it once a month, and I'm totally accustomed to it. But when I get thirsty, I drink water still. So yeah, technically I'm doing a dry fast, but if I run my 5K and I sweat a lot because it's super hot or muggy or outside, then I'm gonna drink water when I'm done. So you can't be like too hard line about things.
Yeah. All right. So next question here from Lee. Hi everyone. I have a calcium score of 1343. 2 blockages on the main left artery with 70 to 80%, 1 blockage on the left branch, I'm assuming, left at 60%, and 2 blockages on the right branch with 60%. I just bought the Healthy Heart and the supplements for 1 year supply. Will these supplements reduce the calcium in my arteries? Thank you and happy birthday, Dr. Saunders.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so the question about the supplements reducing the calcium, that's not what they're for. Technically, there is evidence that you can reduce the calcium in your arteries by taking vitamin K in pretty high doses, so like a milligram of vitamin K a day, and they even make Life Extension makes a 40 milligram dose of vitamin K, which is a really high dose, specifically for the purpose of getting those calcium deposits out of your arteries. So there's some evidence that could help. The purpose of the Healthy Heart Solution Kit is to keep blood flow to your heart. Now, we use markers for that. So you have a coronary calcium score of 1300. Okay, so just so everybody knows, let's put that into perspective. 100 is kind of like average, right? 400 is high. 1,000 is like super high. 1,300 is like, yeah, you have a lot of calcium deposits. So there's something else that you need to do when you have that high of a coronary calcium score, and that is to ask the question, why? So in the book, we have a list of tests to do. And those tests are going to help to determine why you have all this calcium deposits in your arteries. Why are you making all these clots? Why aren't you dissolving them and getting rid of them and cleaning up those clots well? So, for example, we talked about lipoprotein A last time, and that's something that if you have too much of it, then you don't dissolve clots well, and they just organize and calcify, and they sit there. So the point is not to remove the calcium. That's kind of what everybody's expecting to do. And I've told the story before about the guy that had his score was 5,000. I'm pretty sure it was 5,000, and he had chest pain so bad that he couldn't walk across the room without stopping, and then once once his blood came back to his heart, then he could walk again another 20 feet, and then they'd have to stop again. And so his cardiologist said he wasn't going to live 3 months. He wasn't going to live a month. He was so bad. And he decided to fast, and he did a water fast, just drank water for 30 days. And at the end of 30 days, he was playing a full tennis match. He was a tennis coach, playing a full tennis match with no chest pain at all, walking anywhere, doing whatever he wanted with no chest pain. And it was 6 months later or whatever, he goes, I'm really curious as to what my coronary calcium score is, because I was so dysfunctional before. My heart was, barely hanging on by a thread. And now I can do anything I want. I work out, I do whatever I want, and I don't have any problems. And I'm wondering what my calcium score is. And I was kind of curious too. So we did his coronary calcium score, and it was 7,000. It was significantly more. It wasn't like it was better. It did not get better. So why was it 7,000? Well, there was probably a whole lot of clots there that had not calcified, that in the process of doing the fasting and whatever had calcified, had organized, and they get calcium deposits in them. And so now he's got all these other organized clots. But one of the things I didn't do is I didn't check those tests on him. This was before I knew about the clotting issue. I thought it was a cholesterol issue. And so, but anyway, the point was he was totally functional, and his coronary calcium score got worse, even though his function returned. So I don't know what to do with that, but really what you're looking for is how to become functional. You don't want to be a cardiac cripple and, you know, walk 20 feet and go, and then have to stop and wait and then walk another 20 feet. And I had someone like that, couldn't go to the mailbox. And I'm like, okay, let's reverse that process so that you can function, at least get to the mailbox. But now he's walking anywhere he wants. So yeah, that's the purpose, not to remove the calcium.
Right. I'm going to also mention that you can go to bartonwebinar.com. I'll pull that up shortly. You will find links to our previous webinars, links to sign up to watch these webinars on Zoom, some of our products, etc. You can use code webinar25. That's one word to save 25%. Okay, Christine said, was following some things on the Food Revolution Network. And based on many of the positive things they pointed out, going more plant-based seems to be worth considering to help me get a healthier heart, gut, avoid diabetes, and lose weight. Thoughts?
Yeah, you know, my research has shown that pretty much too. And as I've looked around, I've kind of always thought that the diet is for a specific person. Some people tolerate a carnivore type or a ketogenic type diet better. Some people tolerate a plant-based diet better. And there are some people that just don't do well on a plant-based diet. And there are some people that just don't do well on a carnivore diet. And I've had people in my office who, like, say, you know, for whatever years, 6 years, I did a totally plant-based, you know, vegan diet. And I did not feel good, and it was not good for me. And now, as soon as I added protein in, my energy came back. I felt better. I wasn't depressed all the time. And you know what? Some people need concentrated forms of protein, which is very hard to get in plant foods. So you can do it in some beans, bean curds like soy, tofu, that kind of thing. You can get some, but it's not a complete protein. And so some people are really, really sensitive to that. And for whatever reason, there's a lot of reasons that could be. Do you know that animal proteins are more easily digested than plant proteins? So for people who really need protein, if you take an egg, for example, and you cook the white and leave the yolk runny, that is like a complete protein. It's easily digested by anyone, you know, children, adults, people that get older. And as we age, we get less acid being produced in our stomach, so we don't denature proteins as well. I don't digest them as well. And fish is really easily digested, and shellfish and those kinds of things. But when it comes to plant proteins, even beans and other plant proteins, they're difficult to digest. And think about like gluten, for example. Gluten is a protein, and so many people are gluten intolerant. And the only reason is because they don't digest it. They don't have enough stomach acid or enough enzyme or something that prevents them from digesting it. So that protein goes whole into the small intestine and creates a reaction. Otherwise, if the stomach were digesting it, it would denature and be cut up into pieces, and you would never see a whole gluten protein in the small intestine. So no one would ever react to it. So it's just because it's hard to digest that happens. And so there isn't an ideal diet for every human being. I just don't think that that's the case. However, having said that, the research kind of shows that getting like 50% of your calories from carbs and eating a more plant-based diet, higher fiber diet, right? And getting that kind of thing seems to be a better way to go generally.
Okay, another question here from Michelle. Michelle says, I have decades of diarrhea. No supplements have helped. However, I'm pre-diabetic and vegetarian. Recently, was just vegan for years. I ate applesauce, dry sourdough, small boiled potato, and 1 saltine. Glucose was 203. How can I stop the diarrhea when the brat diet is lethal to my diabetic situation?
Okay. So the brat diet is really a temporary fix for diarrhea. So if you have chronic diarrhea, what you need is to find out why you have chronic diarrhea. So the brat diet would not be a good choice for that. But what if you were to add some other kinds of fiber and grow different kinds of bacteria? Some people with chronic diarrhea have a genetic abnormality where they don't produce certain foods for the good bacteria in your intestines. And actually, that a lot of people don't know that our intestines, our large intestine, makes food for good bacteria. And if you don't make food for good bacteria, then you get chronic diarrhea. So that's one of the issues that happens, and irritable bowel syndrome or even inflammatory bowel disease. So some people have to add in those, and one of them is fucose. Fucose is a sugar. It's sweet tasting, and it's kind of hard to find. But I was talking before about mushrooms. That's one of the things that's found in mushrooms. Mushrooms and seaweed are the ones that have higher levels of fucose. But I think the point is to do some tests to find out why you have chronic diarrhea, and don't consider the brat diet to be a fix for it, because that's not what it's for. That's just to make you have solid stool if you've had a recent infection in your intestines or something like that.
Okay. Beverly says, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Let's see. Beverly's in Virginia. I do have the Healthy Heart Solution Kit, and I take the Healthy Heart supplement. I'm not taking fiber greens because I don't have a colon, which means 3 of the 5 sphincters are missing. I do focus on fiber-rich foods, but more fiber than that is counterproductive. But I do have long-standing hypertension, which suggests clogged arteries to some extent. Suggestions.
Okay. So good for you, Valerie. That's important, that you understand that when if you've had partial or complete colectomy, that it's going to change how your bacteria grow, what kinds of fiber you can have, and all that kind of stuff. That's all important to know. So then the question is, I'm sorry, what was the question?
Well,
I'm getting old. That's all.
Yeah. So Beverly has longstanding hypertension, which suggests clogged
Beverly. Oh yeah. It was the hypertension. Yeah. Okay. So the hypertension can suggest clogged arteries, and it could suggest other things too. So the point is to look for the cause of the hypertension. And if your blood pressure is high because your kidneys aren't getting enough blood flow, and that if there's a clogged artery to the kidneys, which does happen, I've seen renal artery stenosis. I've seen that happen. Fixing that problem, I've had put a stent in the renal artery, and all of a sudden the blood pressure is just normal. So that could be an issue. If you're not getting enough blood to your brain, so if there's some clogging in your carotid arteries or somewhere in the brain, I've seen the vertebral arteries as well. Looking for those and saying, what's going on here? Are there clogged arteries, or is it something else? Because it might not be clogged arteries at all. You could have high blood pressure because of an adrenal problem or a pituitary problem or other hormone imbalance. So the first thing to do is find out why, because if you don't know why, then you don't know what you're doing. And then and then you could be just shooting in the dark and doing the wrong thing.
All right. Rose said, I used to eat lettuce a lot, but would get awful stomach pains. Any ideas?
Yeah. I don't know why you'd be getting stomach pains from lettuce, but if it causes that, then just, I don't know, avoid lettuce and eat other things instead. You know, what do you tolerate? Spinach, broccoli, whatever, that kind of thing. Yeah, lettuce does have benefits, but you know, some people just don't tolerate certain foods, and I do tests on people like that. You know, I have this the Genova antibody test that looks at 85 different foods and then dust mites and dogs and cats and cockroaches and allergies, reactions to a list of 20 different molds and all that stuff to see, you know, where's the real problem here, and is it? And it tests for different things, IgG, IgA, and IgE. So it looks at different types of reactions. So that's the one I use.
You had me do that, and I learned I was allergic to grass pollen.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Interesting. So you quit eating grass?
I quit sniffing my grass every morning. Yep.
All right. Okay. Iman says, what do you think of the finger monitor that measures oxygen level, blood pressure, blood sugar?
Okay. Those the finger monitor that measures the oxygen, they're actually pretty accurate, and they're better than like a chest x-ray for determining if there's anything in the lungs. They're pretty good at looking at your pulse, and so they can look at your pulse, and they can look at a pulse wave and say this is a normal pulse wave or this is an abnormal pulse wave. If you've ever been to acupuncturist, very often they'll feel your pulse, and then they'll feel it for a long time, and they'll go, okay, these are your problems. You're like, what the heck? How do you find out that from a pulse? If you look at your finger monitor, mine has, here it is. Okay, so when you look at the finger monitor, it will show you, it's not all of them do, but it'll show you a pulse wave. And when you look at the wave, then you can see if your heart is beating. So when your heart beats, the pulse wave should go up fast, and then when your heart relaxes, it should go down slowly as your blood vessels constrict to push the blood through your blood vessels. So if you look at my pulse wave there, so see how it goes up fast, and it looks like a sawtooth going up fast, down slow, up fast, down slow, up fast, down slow. And it's a relative amount, but yeah, you can get a lot of information from these pulse oximeters. Now, the blood sugar measurement is not accurate at all. I've looked at these. Some people have sent them to me. Hey, what about this? They try to look at changes in your pulse wave, for example, that would indicate the blood sugar changes. That is not an accurate way of looking at it. Really, if it's not poking into your skin and taking out a sample of some fluid, then you're not really looking at blood sugar. They're using a secondary measurement, and they're not accurate. That's the best I can say. They're not accurate.
All right. Let's see. Frank or Pat said my vitamin D level is 282.2 nanomole. Well, millimole is 2M. So what is N? Okay, per deciliter or per liter? No, per liter. What is an acceptable level?
Well, acceptable. That's a pretty high level. It should be around 100-ish is a really good level. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's a really high level of vitamin D.
So we I've never seen the measurements, I guess, of it that way. So typically, what do you recommend for someone to take for vitamin D daily?
So when we formulated Synachroma, we looked at what's the optimum level of vitamin D. And so, and how do you get there? So the optimum level of vitamin D in, what is it, milligrams per deciliter is the 50, and which is somewhere near 80 to 100 for the nanomoles per liter. And that gets you to about 5,000 milligrams a day gets you there. And so when we made the Synachroma with the vitamin D, we have put that amount in there because that's what's going to get you to that optimum level. Some people, because they're very insulin resistant, the diabetics, for example, might go up to 10,000 units per day, international units per day. And that will get them at the high end of the normal spectrum. And so that's okay for those people. So anywhere between 5,000 and 10,000 a day gets you to a normal level, normal, or should I say optimum level, because normal isn't necessarily best. Really what you want is the optimum level.
All right. Another question. Okay, so Iman says blood pressure just now using an electronic cuff is 123/77. How does that sound?
That's probably just about perfect. You can't get more perfecter than that. I just made up a word. When you look at the big picture, if somebody is under 60 years old, their optimum blood pressure is somewhere around 120/75. And so being between 70 and 80 is a perfect place to be for your diastolic blood pressure, no matter what age you are. And then the systolic blood pressure, the higher number, as you're younger, it should be around 120, but as you age, it should go up to 140, because that 140, that higher pressure, helps give you better circulation. And so you actually have a lower mortality with a higher blood pressure when you're over 70. So it's not a simple one-to-one, but so for you, that blood pressure is great.
Okay. All right. Michael says, this is Michael in North Carolina. What is the best diet for reducing belly fat?
Okay. So I've tried them all. The ketogenic diet clearly reduces belly fat better than everything else. Why? Because you quit making insulin. And it's insulin that causes you to put on belly fat. And so if you're eating a vegan diet or a vegetarian diet, and you're eating a whole bunch of fruit, a fruitarian diet, and you're getting all these apples and oranges and mangoes and bananas and pears and stuff, then you're eating sugar all the time, and this constant supply of sugar keeps your insulin going up, and insulin is what makes you put on belly fat. So a ketogenic diet takes all that sugar out of your diet. You quit making insulin, and so you start using up the fat in your belly. And so I went down one waist size, and I did not have a waist size to lose. Well, I had a waist size to lose, but I was not overweight. I had a 32 waist. Now I have a 31 waist. And that changed just from 3 months of doing the ketogenic diet. So I don't recommend that people do that necessarily long term, but if you want to lose belly fat, man, that works.
All right. Okay, so I'm going to have you, if you're able to, Dr. Saunders, kind of look at the Q&A, because Maria has sent over some numbers and I want to make sure that you can see them. So lipid panel with reflex to direct LDL.
Okay, I got it.
Okay, cholesterol value 206, HDL 53, triglyceride 107. I'm just reading these quickly. LDL cholesterol value 132, cholesterol to HDL ratio value 3.9. You guys can see these. Cholesterol non-HDL 153. I had my test yesterday and my doctor called me to tell me my cholesterol is high. Please advise me to bring my HDL down.
Okay. So okay, there's a mistake there, and that is your cholesterol value, the optimum cholesterol is between 200 and 250. So that's where you want it to be, and you are in that optimal range. So your total cholesterol is perfect. Don't change a thing. Your HDL of 53 is good. It could be higher, that's okay, but you definitely don't want to bring HDL down. The LDL is the one that they will tell you is high, but isn't. That's a marketing strategy for the drug company to sell more Lipitor. It has nothing to do with your health. It has nothing to do with heart disease. It's all irrelevant. It's only for marketing of drugs. So erase the LDL from your memory and don't even look at that. Your total cholesterol to HDL ratio 3.9 is pretty good. It should be around 4 for Maria. I assume you're female, and so that's okay. The only issue I would have with this is the triglycerides being a little bit on the high side, and that triglycerides ideally should be under 100, and you want your HDL or your triglyceride to HDL ratio to be right around 1, ideally less than 1. So your triglyceride to HDL ratio is about 2. In fact, exactly 2. So that's where I see the issue. The other things are non-issues. Your total cholesterol is perfect. It's fine. Don't change a thing. So really what you want to do is get your triglycerides down. And the way to do that is to start burning fat. The way to burn fat is to eat fewer carbs and decrease your insulin level. Insulin blocks you from using triglycerides for energy. That's fat. So the energy that the fat that you're looking at there when you see triglycerides, that is the fat that you burn for energy. And so as it's going up, it means you're not using that for energy. And so that decreases your energy availability and decreases your or increases your or decreases your ketones and increases your inflammation. So ideally, the HDL cholesterol could go up a little bit, and the triglyceride level could go down a little bit. And the way to do that is to eat fewer meals in a day, and eat fewer carbohydrates and avoid things that taste sweet.
Okay, we have another one here. Frank and Pat sent some information as well. So let's do that one here. 1 second. All right, so triglyceride 0.85, cholesterol 6.22, HDL 1.57, LDL 4.32, non-HDL 4.65, cholesterol to HDL ratio 4.0. Tell me what this one is. I don't know, you tell me.
Hematocrit.
Okay.
Yeah.
At 0.515, hemoglobin A1C is 503. I'm 70 years old, in good health otherwise. What do these mean, and should I be overly concerned?
Okay. So the hemoglobin A1C 5.0 is actually your blood sugar is just about perfect. Not an issue there. So I don't see anything wrong with that. Your hematocrit at 51 is what that means. Hematocrit is the percent of your blood that is red blood cells, and so your 51% of your blood is red blood cells, and that's on the high side. So for a female, that would be really high. For a male, it would be a little bit high, and that's significant. A cholesterol to HDL ratio of 4.0 is average, not high, not low. The triglycerides of 85 is great. That's not bad at all. It's under 100. So that's pretty good. The cholesterol is 0.622. I don't, gosh, I'll have to figure out the conversion from millimoles of cholesterol to milligrams. I'm not sure about. So I would have to use because I don't have that conversion. The ratio, the cholesterol to HDL ratio is okay. So that's average. And the HDL again is these are in moles and not milligrams. 4.65. So the blood sugar's not bad. The hematocrit's a little high. So your iron is a little bit high. And then the cholesterol HDL ratio is okay. It's kind of average. So I don't see an issue here that you would have to act on, except for this hematocrit. Find out why your hematocrit is high. Sometimes it's a testosterone issue. Sometimes it's some other problem, hemochromatosis or something like that, which could be a problem. But I mean, if you're 70, you've lived this long and haven't had an issue. Hemochromatosis is often a genetic problem. That's why I would say that. And so if you have if you're in your 40s and you're having liver problems because your hematocrit is high, that's a different issue. But if you're not having any issues, then the hematocrit being a little high isn't going to be an issue. So, good work.
It says to convert from millimoles to milligrams, you multiply by 39. So that'd put the cholesterol at 242.
242. Ooh, that's pretty high, right? The cholesterol at 242?
Right? Is that what you told? Is that what you said to convert?
6.2 times, what was the
39.
conversion?
39. 241.
So 241. Okay. So gosh, that's a pretty high cholesterol. Your HDL is a pretty high too, though. So okay, 400 240. No, that's fine. That's fine. That's 240. It should be between 200 and 250. And so, yeah, you're on the high side of normal. So that's perfect. So there's nothing here that you need to act on.
Yay. Good job.
I hate to interrupt here, but I've got a meeting at the top of the hour, so I got to head out. Happy birthday, Dr. Saunders.
Thank you.
Great listening in. We'll see you guys later.
Thanks.
Happy birthday.
Thanks.
All right. Here we go. Christine says, what is the best way to test the waters on it? I also have Graves' disease and breast cancer survivor. I like eggs. So to test the waters on, I'm not sure. One of the diets, probably. Maybe keto if you're looking for belly fat, or you're talking about high fiber.
Yeah. What did she ask about? Did she ask about before a specific one?
Might be able to go back. Oh, here we go. Yep. Plant-based.
Oh, plant-based. Okay. So it's really easy. You just go on a plant-based diet and see how you do on it. And then what was the other part of that? Graves' disease, and you had breast cancer and you like eggs. Okay. That's fine. A breast cancer survivor would indicate that you probably have estrogen dominance. So look into your hormones and see if there's any DHEA elevation, for example, would be made into estrogen, and then having a low progesterone. So if you balance the hormones, that would be a good idea. And then anyone who's a breast cancer survivor should be taking 3 supplements, or anyone who has breast cancer, or anyone who wants to prevent breast cancer, get vitamin D, iodine, and selenium. So those 3 together would reduce, if everybody took those, if every woman took those, then breast cancer would diminish by 50%. That's like half.
All right. Okay, message here from Tommy. Without stopping, I've been doing your program for 5 months now. I've been doing the 5 supplements that's in the book daily. My cardiologist is being kind of a jerk. He doesn't want me to run any more tests because I quit taking all of his drugs and I feel great. I don't know what to do. I feel great. I've lost 36 pounds. My heart feels like it's pumping better. When I work out at the gym, I'm getting muscles and losing fat. I'm 66 years old. I've been intermittent fasting ever since I started. Should I go back to my primary and have them recommend another cardiologist? Because I want to get my umbilical hernia fixed and this guy won't clear me. What other questions can I do a TRT replacement program?
Okay, so
Any-
the simple way to handle that is to have your primary care approve you for the umbilical hernia repair. Umbilical hernia repair is a skin surgery. It's not like they have to go into a body cavity and mess with your organs or take out large amounts of anything. And these days they do it with a scope and it heals pretty quickly. But it's a skin thing. So I think your primary care should be able to handle that, and you wouldn't need a cardiologist to approve that. I would.
Okay, Dr. Saunders, thank you so much. You're the best. Have a wonderful birthday. We'll see you next week.
Thanks.
Happy
Okay.
birthday.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you all for being here with us. A few questions we did not get to. Don't know that one.
Michelle asks, how do you spell the OS, glucose, fructose? What is it that it's in your gut? Fructose. Fructose.
Yes.
Isn't it fructose?
Yeah, I
Not
think-
fructose. Fructose.
So, or even could be part of, well, yes. Let me look. Yeah. Well, no, that's not fructose. Fucrose.
Fructose. That's what it is.
All right.
Susan Parrish asks, what are the amounts of vitamin D, iodine, and selenium? So he covered 5,000 IU for vitamin D, iodine, and selenium. I'm not sure. But he said higher vitamin D than normal for cancer survivors or wanting to avoid breast cancer. But we do have vitamin D and selenium and synochroma. It's not marketing as anything for that kind of problem, but it does have both of those in it.
Yeah, and you can find all of that at bartonwebinar.com. Use code webinar25 to save 25%. Okay, and this has been recorded, so you can go to YouTube, go to bartonwebinar.com. You'll find a link to our YouTube channel, which will also direct you to this video and all of the other webinars that we have done. We also have our type 2 diabetes webinar that we do on Wednesdays. Those are there as well. Okay, thank you all so much. Thank you,